400 characters. The screen fades in with a sweeping aerial view of a sprawling, weathered ranch nestled among rolling hills. The golden sunlight casts long shadows over the dusty fields and creaky wooden fences. A narrator's voice, warm and curious, begins. In the quiet heart of the countryside, a young man named Ethan received an unexpected inheritance. An old ranch, left to him by a distant uncle he barely knew, promised a new chapter. Little did he know, this legacy came with a mysterious twist. The camera pans slowly, revealing the rustic charm of the ranch house, its stone chimney puffing smoke into the crisp air. 400 characters. The scene shifts to Ethan, a rugged yet gentle man in his 30s, stepping out of a beat-up truck. He carries a worn suitcase, his face a mix of excitement and uncertainty. The narrator continues. Ethan arrived with dreams of restoring the land, unaware of the secrets it held. As he approached the front porch, the door creaked open, revealing an unexpected sight. The camera zooms in on his curious expression, then pans to the shadowy figure standing in the doorway, hinting at the surprise to come. 400 characters inside. 7 women in vintage dresses stand in a semicircle, their faces a blend of solemnity and anticipation. The narrator says, 7 widows, dressed as if from another era, greeted him with silent stares. Each held a faded photograph, his picture, taken years ago without his knowledge. The camera lingers on their intricate clothing, the soft rustle of fabric filling the air, as Ethan's eyes widen in shock, the photograph trembling in the nearest widow's hands. 400 characters. Ethan stammers, "Who are you? Why do you have my picture?" The narrator explains. The widows, with gentle voices, revealed they were bound to the ranch by a promise made decades ago. His uncle, they said, had chosen Ethan as their protector. The camera cuts to close-ups of their weathered yet kind faces, each widow nodding as if confirming a shared secret, the photograph passing from hand to hand, its edges worn by time. 400 characters. The scene transitions to a flashback, the screen blurring into sepia tones. The narrator intones, "Years ago, Ethan's uncle, a solitary rancher, made a pact with these women. Widowed by a tragic storm, they sought refuge, and he vowed their lineage would be safeguarded." The camera shows a younger uncle shaking hands with the widows under a stormy sky, lightning illuminating their determined faces as rain lashes the ranch. 400 characters. Back in the present, Ethan sits at a wooden table, the widows surrounding him. The narrator adds, "Confused but intrigued, Ethan listened as they explained the ranch's history. Each widow had a story of loss, tied to the land." The camera focuses on their hands, gnarled yet steady, passing down heirlooms, rings, letters, as they speak softly, the firelight casting dancing shadows on the walls. 400 characters. One widow, her voice trembling, says, "Your uncle saved us. Now it's your turn." The narrator notes. The weight of their words sank in. Ethan realized this wasn't just a home, it was a duty. The camera zooms in on his conflicted face, then pans to the widow's hopeful eyes, the photograph now resting on the table, its image of Ethan staring back like a silent promise. 400 characters. The next morning, Ethan explores the ranch, the widows trailing behind. The narrator says, determined to understand, Ethan began uncovering the ranch's mysteries. The widows guided him, their knowledge of the land uncanny. The camera follows him through overgrown fields, the widows pointing out hidden trails, their dresses swaying as they move with purpose under the morning sun. 400 characters. In a dusty barn, Ethan finds an old trunk. The narrator continues. Inside, he discovered journals and maps, hinting at buried treasures and forgotten vows. The camera shows him lifting the lid, revealing yellowed pages and a rusted key, the widows watching with bated breath, their silhouettes framed by the barn's open door. 400 characters. One widow, clutching a shawl, whispers, "The key unlocks our past." The narrator explains. Each journal entry spoke of the storm, the losses, and the uncle's pledge to protect their descendants. The camera pans over the handwritten pages, the ink faded but legible, as Ethan's fingers trace the words, his expression growing more resolute. 400 characters. Ethan follows the maps to a hidden cellar. The narrator says, with the key in hand, he descended into the earth, the widows waiting above. The camera tracks his cautious steps down rickety stairs, the cellar's darkness pierced by his flashlight, revealing shelves of preserved goods and a locked chest. 400 characters. Unlocking the chest, Ethan finds gold coins and letters. The narrator adds, the treasure wasn't just gold, it was the proof of his uncle's commitment. The camera zooms in on the glinting coins and sealed envelopes, the widows, voices echoing faintly from above, a mix of relief and pride in their tones. 400 characters. Back upstairs, the widows gather around. The narrator notes, they read the letters, tears in their eyes, as Ethan learned of his uncle's love for them. The camera captures their emotional reactions, hands brushing the paper, as Ethan stands silently, the weight of his inheritance deepening. 400 characters. One widow smiles, saying, "You're our hope now." The narrator continues, Ethan vowed to honor his uncle's promise, restoring the ranch for them. The camera shows him nodding, then cuts to him hammering a new fence post, the widows watching with approval as the sun sets behind them. 400 characters. Days pass, and the ranch transforms. The narrator says, with their help, Ethan rebuilt the barns, replanted fields, and brought life back to the land. The camera pans over newly painted structures and sprouting crops, the widows working alongside him, their laughter mingling with the wind. 400 characters. At night, they share stories by the fire. The narrator adds, the widows taught Ethan their traditions, weaving a bond stronger than blood. The camera focuses on their faces illuminated by flames, hands busy with knitting or storytelling, Ethan listening intently. 400 characters. A storm brews on the horizon. The narrator warns, but the past wasn't done with them. A storm like the one that widowed them approached. The camera shows dark clouds rolling in, the widows exchanging worried glances as Ethan secures the windows. 400 characters. As rain lashes the ranch, Ethan stands guard. The narrator says, he faced the tempest, determined to protect his new family. The camera captures rain streaming down his face, the widows huddling inside, their trust in him evident. 400 characters. The storm passes, leaving damage but no loss. The narrator notes, the ranch held strong, a testament to their unity. The camera shows Ethan and the widows surveying the aftermath, smiles breaking through the mud and debris. 400 characters. Months later, the ranch thrives. The narrator adds, Ethan's efforts paid off, the land blooming under his care. The camera pans over lush fields and a bustling farm, the widows tending gardens, their faces radiant. 400 characters. A visitor arrives, a historian. The narrator says, news of the ranch's revival drew attention, and a historian sought its story. The camera shows the man flipping through the journals, Ethan and the widows gathered around, eager to share. 400 characters. The historian marvels, this is incredible. History. The narrator continues, the tale of the widows and Ethan's legacy was documented, preserving their bond. The camera captures the historian taking notes, the photograph of Ethan now framed on the wall. 400 characters. The widows embrace Ethan. The narrator adds, they found a son in him, their protector and friend. The camera lingers on their group hug, the ranch house warm and alive behind them. 400 characters. Seasons change, and the ranch stands eternal. The narrator says, the legacy endured, a beacon of hope and resilience. The camera shows snow falling, then spring blossoms, the widows and Ethan working together. 400 characters. Ethan reflects by the fire. The narrator notes, he found more than a ranch, he found a purpose. The camera zooms in on his thoughtful face, the widows, laughter echoing softly. 400 characters. The widows age gracefully. The narrator adds, time passed, but their spirit remained unbroken. The camera shows gray hair and wrinkled smiles, yet their eyes still sparkle with life. 400 characters. Ethan's children join the ranch. The narrator says, the promise passed to a new generation. The camera captures kids running through fields, the widows teaching them old songs. 400 characters. The screen fades to black, the narrator concluding, and so, the ranch became a home for all who needed it, a testament to love and duty across time. The final shot shows the ranch under a starry sky, the sound of laughter fading into silence.